Hello everyone, welcome back to another Mechanical Ascension X video. In this video, we're going to be reviewing the gift items that you get from the Mechanical Ascension X Christmas event. This has been split into three categories: the ones you can get out of boxes, the ones you get from grinding candy, and the ones that you get at complete random. May RNG have mercy on your soul. Since this category only has two items, we're going to start with it. First with the Invasive Cookie Kitty. This comes from the Invasive Cookie gift that you can get randomly when delivering presents. This item does 6 times, but it does 9 times if used with the Cookie Transformer. I don't know what a Cookie Transformer is, and I don't think I even have it. But by the looks of things, it's this thingamajig, and yeah, I don't have it. I don't even know where you get it from. So that's a complete mystery for the time being. It's an okay item, I guess. This one, however, is incredible. The Grandiose Gingerbread Castle, another one you get from delivering presents, has a 310 times base upgrade, which is absolutely absurd for newer players. And it's got an MP of 2.269, making it somewhat useful in the late game. I might actually start to incorporate this into my setup. Only downside is it's kind of wide, so use that information if you will. Alright, next up we're going to start with the items that you get out of boxes. These items, they're not the best. Especially, let's just talk about these two. They're two different decorations based on the rock and the diesel. And they're just decoration items of rocks. Yeah. Nice waste of a gift. Speaking of waste of a gift, we need to talk about the two items you get from the glue gift. The gift that is not tied to the other gifts in the candy cane box. These items are actually terrible. This is a decoration, and this is a upgrader with such a low conveyor speed and upgrade that it's even comical that it's even in the game. So that's great. Next up, though, we get into the actual good stuff, the sequence fix. This item does a massive MPU of 2.466, and it resizes your ore, making it larger, which can actually be very useful for some upgrades like the Bandlands composition. This is definitely going to make its way into some setups. It's actually incredible. Next up, New Maker Plane. Again, another small item, and another good MPU to back it up of 2.114. It does nearly 20 times, and for an item that you get out of a crate, that's pretty powerful. Next up is 1987 reference, Slaughterhouse Arcade Machine. Once again, it's got a really good MPU, 2.111, does nearly 20 times again. What is with these upgraders and being just incredibly good this event? This also got a conveyor speed of 87 as a reference to 1987. So yeah. And last we have the Surflane's Mega Toxic Mansion of Toxicity. This has the highest raw multiplier of them all, being 175 times, and since it gives poison, it is buffed by the Carnival Bloom and can do 350 times, bringing it to an actually usable MPU of 2. So, yeah, most of the items you get from the cane box are actually pretty good, as long as you don't get the glue gift 53 times over. And now we get onto the gifts that you get from grinding out candy and buying all the presents. We're just going to start off with the Gingerbread Furry, as it is the cheapest of the gifts, being 10,000 candy. This is basically a gingerbread upgrader in the shape of a furry, and it references Sky in the description. Now, its MPU is alright, it's not the best, being 1.9, but that's still very usable in late game setups if you don't have like absurdly powerful upgraders, and it's not that hard to get, being only 10,000 candy, so definitely worth getting it if you can. The next two gifts are actually a set. They both come out of the Duality gift, so you need to actually buy 2 of them to get the Surprise Canine Christmas and the Pathetic Lump of Coal. These are both AoE upgraders. The Surprise Canine Christmas does 8 times, but it also gives damage and Bubbly, but the Bubbly is not affected by Soapy, so you can't get the Soapy buff, but you can still get the Pearlescent buff. And it also synergizes with its other item, the Pathetic Lump of Coal, which honestly should just be put first. It sets your ore on fire and it does damage, so it can be buffed by the what's it called, Scorched and Pearlescent to get up to 10.5, but on its own it's 1.6 times, so just use this first and then use this to get absurd amounts of multiplier. These two items are actually really useful as their AoE can fit into many setups. Right, we're gonna skip a few gifts now. We're gonna go into Freezing Snow Station. This, I believe, comes out of the Freezing Snowflake gift, so we're actually going in order still. And it's a small upgrader with a maximum MP of 2.19 if you have something that buffs or upgrades to give frozen. It's a 3-long upgrader, so filling this into setups is not that difficult. Just be wary that it does give you ore frozen, so make sure you have a workaround for that. Nostalgic Christmas is next. This comes from the Undetectable Brook gift, 35,000 candy. Now this is one of the first ones that's actually pretty good on its own, being 2.1 MPU without its buff, and if you have the item that gives Nostalgic, it gets up to a 2.34 MPU 30 times upgrader. This thing is very powerful. I don't know what to say about it. It's pretty good for a gift that only costs 35,000 candy. And next up we're going to the Adorable gift, which gives this, the Snow Kitty Igloo. This item kinda sucks honestly. Its MPU is pretty low for an item of this type, and it gives frozen. This is probably one that's not going to be used, and I would just honestly avoid getting this unless you have literally everything else, as there are just way better options. Next up, the Irradiated Ice gift, which unboxes into this, the Nuclear Winter. This is an item that gives radioactive and frozen, so it can be buffed by Half-Life and the Arctic effect, but its MPU is still so low, even when you do that it's still not worth using. Again, it's another one of those items that you should probably get towards the end if you're looking for good items. Next up though, we do actually get a good gift, the 1000 times wrapped gift, which unboxes into this, the Elf. It's a 1 tile long upgrader, and it does 2 times. Need I say more? Alright, next up, gift that is an actual train, which unboxes into this, Snowstorm Express. This is a okay upgrader. It's got a pretty high raw multiplier, which is good if you're a newer player. And its MPU is not terrible. It can fit into late game setups if you have the Arctic effect to boost its multiplier up to its maximum. Especially if you have the shiny, well actually no, it's not called shiny, it's called Ultra Compound. Because that can get 3 times Arctic buff, and that can buff this even further. So, usable item actually. Alright, next up we go to the propane-filled gift, which gives you this, Violent Night. This is one of the few items that doesn't give frozen, but instead gives fire. It's a portable upgrader that does 6 times, can get buffed up to 9 times if you have a item that gives Scorched. So yeah, pretty good upgrader, portable, can be fit into many setups. Next up is the Really Angry gift, which unboxes into this, Krampus's Domain. First of all, this is raised, so have fun. It also gives Electrified. Luckily I do have the Electrocharge, but even with that, it's still a 1.83 MPU with the best Electrified buffing item in the game. Not really worth getting it. But the next one definitely is, because it's an AoE item from the Cosmite Infused gift. Massive Cosmite present. It's the Cosmite Core. This is a 9 times AoE, but it can be buffed by Cosmite to get up to 27 times if you have a 3 times Cosmite buff. And this item is really powerful for an AoE. And even still, 9 times AoE, you can fit that into many setups. It's very small, so getting this into setups is not going to be too difficult. Alright, next up, Gift of Suspended Abyss. It boxes into this, Impossible Bliss. In my opinion, one of the best items you can get from a gift. Getting up to 2.4 MPU if you have everything that can buff Voided and stuff. It makes your ores really elastic and gives them very low elastic weight, so I'm not sure how badly that can affect a setup, as I haven't had a chance to really test this. But it has really good MPU, so if the effect is not too bad, use this item. It's one of the better ones in my opinion, but it also does cost 225,000 candy, so it's one of the later ones. Next up, Neglected Frozen gift. Unboxed into the Frozen Surfboard, an AoE upgrader that does 10 times and gives bubbly, which can be negated by the hydrophobic upgrade from Sunken Submarine. However, it is not affected by Soapy again. However, it does give Frozen and can be buffed by that. So, yeah, pretty useful AoE. But it is quite large. This one's a bit harder to shoehorn into a setup. Hot and tasty hot cocoa now selling surfboard. Alright. Next up is the horrifyingly hygienic gift, which unboxes into this. Hygienic toxicity, which actively roasts the player base. This item is also 2.2 MPU, 125 times, again not affected by Soapy. It's interesting because a lot of these are not affected by Soapy while giving bubbly. So it makes the Chick Hideaway kind of not that useful in this event. The tag name is MX Players Taking a Bat. Roast the player base, get out of here. Alright, next up is the Frosty gift, which unboxes into this thing, one of the better items. Frosty Legion. A portable 35 times upgrade that can get up to 91 when buffed by everything. It is buffed by Curse, so using a Tartarus on this thing's great. It's got random, which means I do believe that it's not buffed by Draconic, so that's interesting. And it's frozen, meaning it's buffed by Arctic. And look at the maximum upgrade, and that's not even the highest it can go. Because I've got one of the weaker Arctic upgrades. If you had the 3 times one, you could be making some serious bank with this item. So definitely get this if you can. It is the 5th most expensive gift, so it's going to be a fun time getting it. Next up is the Sparkling Aurora present, which is boxed into this. Auroral Palace. This thing's Roar multiplier is probably the highest out of all the items so far, being 415 times and getting up to 622, with an MPU of 2.124 base and can get up to 2.235. Especially when you have the thing that buffs glow. Now, this is a soaring upgrader, so it takes some effort to actually use this thing. But, if you have the space for it, it's pretty good upgrader. Next up, nearly forgot to claim this. New Year's Ball Drop, nice. Behemoth Snowflake Monument. This is a static upgrader that does 1.2 times, 22 different times. That's pretty good considering that's, I don't know how much multiplier that is from my head, but you can fit this into a lot of setups. It's quite large, but if you have the space for it, definitely put it in, as it is really powerful. The second to last item we're going to cover is the Santa's Workshop, which comes from the 400,000 candy gift, and honestly, it's not really worth it. It's a 1.99 MPU item. It gives overtime, taking 20 seconds to fully upgrade, and it's just not really worth it for the amount of candy you put into this thing. This thing kind of needs a bit of a buff because right now it's just skip the 400 to 1000 one, go straight to the 500,000, where you get the Miracle, the best item in the entire event. 2.8 MPU, 173 times, no downsides, absolutely amazing upgrader. Comes from the 500,000 candy gift, and honestly, very worth going for. Get this item if you can, because it does come from this, but it's the best item, so get it. And that will do for the review of all the gift items. There is one more item I do want to cover, and that is an item that has gift in the name, but isn't necessarily a gift. Well, it's more so called present. Suspicious looking present. Yeah, that's definitely not going to blow up. It also does 2 MPU and has a special tag that I don't understand. But yeah, you get this from delivering presents sometimes. But yeah, that will do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed my review of these items. A lot of them were really good, some of them kind of need a buff, and others were just kind of trash. But yeah, that will do it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.